Alright guys, so this is my Magblade build for PvP. I am on my Breton right now, so there's a couple of skills not morphed because this is a pure PvE character. I only PvP on AD really, and I've been running an Argonian on this one. This is a Breton, but I think the two best race choices right now for this build specifically are Breton and Argonian. Let's see. I am running Vampire. You want to be stage 4 here, but I lowered it so that I could complete a couple dungeons. Again, this is my PvE character, but this one has Max Undaunted and Mage's Guild, so I wanted to show it to you on this versus my other one, which I've been lazy on, and I do not have this. So stage 4 Vampire here, Apprentice, and the Witch Mothers. We'll go over a couple different options with Mundus and gear. Straight into the gear, we're running a Nirnhone Firestaff of Necropotence. Gives you the 2 through 4 max magicka and the juicy 5-piece 3000 more max magicka when you have your pet active, which your shadow image does count as a pet. And yeah, we're running poisons for our second set. You are going to need to run a poison. I'm running a double dot and increased stamina cost poison. This is your preference. Decide what you like. This is what I've been running with for the moment. I haven't done a lot of testing on the poisons. I never ran them before really. Not before this build. I have a restoration staff of Necropotence. It's powered at the moment, but I ran out of transmutation crystals. You are going to want defending here. I have an absorb magicka enchant just for the extra sustain while I'm defensive. I'm running a heavy Molokina piece for the Undaunted and medium Dami House shoulders. But looking at the stats, I actually think the Grothdar with the sets we're running and the abilities is going to give you more damage overall. But I like the Kina right now because I have an M-Pen, and like I said, I ran out of transmutation crystals. But yeah, Grothdar is probably going to be more damage for you. You're going to want at least 5 M-Pen, and this is not ideal right here. Infused on these, you're going to want M-Pen here, and maybe infused on your big pieces, your legs and your chest. But I do not have transmutation crystals at the moment, like I said. The second 5-piece set we're running is Moon Hunter out of the new Moon Hunter DLC dungeon and the Wolf Hunter patch. Gives you spell damage, spell crit, and when your alchemical poison fires, increase your spell damage by 579 for 6 seconds. This does go up to 600 if it's golded out, so you can pump out even more damage if you gold this out. I have spell damage on all my jewelry, necro jewelry. You could run this either way, necro 2-piece body or 3-piece body, or however you feel. If you have the jewelry, you got lucky and you got the jewelry at Moon Hunter. But I was running on normal and only got blue jewelry. Obviously, I don't have the mats for, improving it. But this is what I'm running. All spell damage. Like I said, you're gonna want 5 M-Pen at least, and you could even go 2 well fitted instead of infused for a little more stamina sustain. That may sound a little unorthodox, but it is really nice. You're gonna want to keep your stamina up. And feel like I said, the two best races I feel are Breton and Argonian. You could go high elf. It's gonna give you similar sustain and a lot of damage too. Dark elf isn't bad. It gives you that stamina bonus and extra fire damage, but we're not running a ton of fire damage, so I highly recommend Argonian, then Breton, then High Elf, but it's your choice. There's not much of a difference between the two. You can see Force Pulse right here hits like a truck, no set proc, no major sorcery, no stealth, no continuous attack, so that goes up to insane damage. But into the skills. We're running Flame Reach as our CC and a nice little dot there. I don't have this morphed because, like I said, this is a PvE character, but I wanted to show you the full stats on it. And but I run Flame Reach, Ellie Drain. You're going to want to morph it to Elemental Drain, and that's going to give you another 600 magic recovery. I'm running the Apprentice, so I really need that. Um, and it gives you a massive amount of penetration to increase your damage. You should all know what the skill does at this point in the game. Merciless Resolve is going to give us our Minor Berserk to 8% more damage for 20 seconds, and after you do 5 lighter heavy attacks, it's going to give you that really big burst from the Spectral Bow. Almost a 20k tooltip unbuffed right there. Hits like a truck. This and your ulti is going to be your big burst. Degeneration for the major sorcery and the extra heals off light and heavy attacks, which are really nice. We don't have a lot of healing on this build. Our main heal is Healing Ward, and I'm not running Swallow Soul, so I'll explain that in a moment. But this is, I wouldn't be tempted to go with Structured Entropy because Jesus Beam did get nerfed or buffed this patch to 400% execute damage. There's a lot of Templars running around. Whenever you swap bars with Structured Entropy, that's going to put you in execute range sometimes, and I find the heals off this are really nice running the build I'm running without Swallow Soul. So I don't like to swap bars and have my health change and go into execute range. It's not my playstyle. Degeneration, I feel, is the best morph right here. I'm running Force Pulse. Now, why am I running Force Pulse over Swallow Soul? You could go Crushing Shock also. It's going to give you a nice interrupt, but poisons only proc off weapon damage, enchants, and light and heavy attacks, or weapon damage abilities and light and heavy attacks. So this gives you 3 chances right here to proc your poison, so your uptime on your Moonhunter set is going to be a lot better. If you're an experienced Magblade, you're going to be weaving attacks, so that's 4 chances every time you use this with your light attack Force Pulse. So it's going to give you insane uptime. It gives you a lot of damage. It said you saw it right there without any major sorcery buff. Necro not procced. My set not procced. No continuous attack, no stealth. Still 2853 unbuffed damage on each of those ticks. It does go up a lot higher. Let's see what I can get. No continuous, no stealth. 3521, insane. It goes closer to 4K with maybe even higher with continuous and stealth. I haven't tested it. And then for our ultimate on our front bar, we are going with Ice Comet. You might notice I'm not running Cloak at the moment, but we'll run Cloak with this build. I just running the Apprentice. I feel the sustain is really nice from weakness elements, but we'll go over that in a moment. Back bar, I'm running Shadow Image. This is going to give you minor maim and teleport to this to kite. So say we place it behind this tree, we're getting pressured, shields up, shields up, shields up, and line of sight. That's going to be it's going to be your main survivability right there. Not running Cloak, your shields obviously. But if you don't know what this does, I don't know what you're doing on a Magblade. Just to be honest, it gives you the minor maim, it gives you a way to line of sight, a tiny little dot there, I guess. So that's nice still. Every little bit of damage helps. Siphoning attacks, it's going to give you health on your light and heavy attacks and a tiny bit of magic recovery on your light and heavy attacks. But the big kicker here is that whenever the full 20-second duration runs out, you're going to get 4,270 additional magicka when the effect ends. You do not have to let the full duration run out, but don't spam this skill because you will cost yourself magicka rather than getting it back. But that's where a lot of our sustain comes from. Elemental Drain right here, siphoning attacks. Our main heal, you all know it. Healing Ward, the lower your health goes, the bigger the shield. It's extremely strong, always has been. Dampen magicka. Now I go with Dampen over Harness. You can use Harness, but since I play an Argonian, like I said, on my actual PvP character, I go with Dampen, and I didn't want to, change this out. But Dampen magicka, you can run Harness if you'd like. I feel my sustain is fine the way I have it set up, and that extra huge shield is really nice. 18k right there. So that's a big shield. That's going to be almost half your health in PvP. that and healing ward, you're gonna be warding up. Um, they're not gonna get through your shields if you're playing this right, and if they do, it's, I mean, you have ways to kite, you have ways to line of sight. Crippling Grasp is going to give you major expedition, a nice, like, one of the strongest dots in the game right there. It's going to snare your opponent for 40% and give you major expedition. So this is going to give you a lot of mobility, a lot of pressure. Must-have skill. I backbar it because I tend to weave it with light attack. That I'll ward up, light attack, cripple, and go into my rotation. But that's that. You can front bar this if you want. I'll go over that later, like I said, here in a second. And I don't run this in PvE, so I don't have it morphed, but I run Rest Ult here for PvP, and you can go with either Life Giver or Light's Champion. Light's Champion is nice. A lot of people run it, but I prefer the Life Giver on this build because I am not running high crit. I prefer the high base damage, and the minor force you get from Life Giver is pretty much useless on this build. The protection buff you get is still really nice. It's your choice right there. You might want to go the other morph with the Light's Champion if you're going to run Inner Light, which is what we're going to go over right now. So you could run Inner Light, and this is going to give you a crazy amount of magicka with your Undaunted and your Mage's Guild up. That's another 9% max magicka between these two skills. But I would highly recommend going the Apprentice route if you're going to do this. Or not the Atronach route for more recovery, because you're losing a lot of recovery not having the Ellie Drain right there. And if you're going to do this, you can see how long it's been since I've PvP'd on this character. I still have Dark Cloak here instead of Shadowy Disguise. You're gonna want Shadowy Disguise, but if you're gonna run Inner Light right here in the Atronach, you could run Shadowy Disguise here, and that's gonna be for your more traditional Magblade build. If you prefer to run Cloak, which is fine, or you could even Shadowy Disguise here and keep siphoning attacks right here if you feel you're under sustaining. But you can see the difference in my max magicka with Inner Light right here. It takes me up to almost 50,000 max magicka, so that is huge. You're going to get a lot more damage out of that, but like I said, close to 4k weapon damage and 44k max magicka. I feel my damage is already really good, and then running Ellie Drain, I get that penetration. So characters like Stand Wardens and DKs right now tend to run rather tanky builds, and I feel with Ellie Drain I'm melting right through them. But this is your preference. You get more spell crit, like I said, which is really nice, almost 50%, 47.6% with Inner Light on there, which is really nice. But I like that base damage because, in my opinion, with crit, you're going to hit 2k harder on your ultimate maybe. But if you go with the more base damage, a lot of people are running Impen, like I said. Almost everyone is running high Impen. So I'd rather get that really high base damage over that, and their crit resist is then pretty much wasted. I'd rather hit like a truck with base damage, but that's your preference. And is that it for the skills? I think that's it for the skills, guys. I mean, you could run, if you're comfortable and you don't want feel like you need that extra 2%, you could run Soul Harvest here. It's a really nice bursty skill, and you could backbar Ice Comet, but then you're losing out on your Rest Ult. I like to use the Rest Ult not only defensively, but so I don't have to keep warding up. That's why I like the Life Giver one, because it gives you the heals over time, all those heals and healing wards, so I can go offensive without stacking all my wards. Just put up a dampen magicka after I hit this, and I can stay offensive for the duration of the 5 seconds that this is up, and you're almost invincible unless you're getting zerged down. So it allows you to stay really offensive. They think they have you, you hit this, you hit a dampen magicka. It's a race, you both have low health, you're trying to burn each other, and you just surprise the crap out of them. You hit this, and then you just go straight into your burst. But like I said, I prefer Ice Comet, and then Penance right there, or the Life Giver. That's why I like the Life Giver over the Lights Champion, is the heal over time and those nice burst heals and the Healing Ward without having to cast Healing Ward, which is rather expensive. Like I said, you can go Crushing Shock here. It's going to be a little less damage, but your damage is already insane and you get those interrupts. It might be better. This can't be reflected. Don't be tempted to go Swallow Soul here, because you're hardly ever going to proc your Moonhunter set if you go Swallow Soul here. That's it for the skills. Like I said, fully buffed up with Inner Light and the set proc. You're going to hit close to 4k max magic, and that's not even in stealth. You can have almost 49,000 max, or 4k spell damage, almost 49,000 max magicka. Your health in PvP will be over 20k, that's fine. I don't like to dip below that 11k stamina marker. Like, for me, that's my baseline stamina. I won't go any lower than that. That's why I run the one Dami has one Kina. Now, if you want some more unpredictable burst, helps finish people off, you could go Scoria here. It hits like a truck still. Scoria is really good. I don't have the medium shoulders on me at the moment, but Scoria is going to be another nice option for you. Gives you some more max health, and like I said, that really unpredictable burst, some more AoE. It's still extremely strong. So you could play around with that, see what you like. One Grotjar, one Dami House, Kina, Scoria. Those are going to be your best options right here for monster sets. So play around with that. And then we'll go into the champion points right now. This is just a guideline. You can run it, tweak it however you'd like. You can take points out of Sprinter or whatever. But real important, real fast, on every PvP character you want one End of Siphoner. That's not going to give you the 1% debuff, but that debuff isn't important. And what is important is it still puts the debuff marker on them, which is an extra thing to purge. And like I said, there's a lot of Templars running around out there. There's Mag Wardens that can only purge one thing. This is going to screw people over. They're going to have to spam purge just a little more, and it's going to help keep a dot on them instead of getting that dot purged. 56 into Warlord for the break free, 11 into Sprinter just for some extra kiting. I didn't really know where else to put this, but I find I actually really like this even on my Magblade. So 11 into Sprinter, play around with that. 43 into Tenacity, 56 into Arcanist, pretty standard there. And then I do have 56 into Tumbling. That's going to help out a lot with your stamina management, and there are going to be things you want to block, such as Ice Comment, Shooting Star, whatever. More if they're using just ultis, Merciless maybe. If you don't have the stamina to roll dodge, you might want to block that, or you don't have the magic to ward up for some reason. This is going to help out a lot, especially with those Ice Comments and things like that. You're going to want to block a little bit. You're not going to want to hold like perma block, but this is definitely going to help you out. The blue tree, what everyone loves to see. I have 55 into Spell Erosion now. Like I said, you might feel like you're over penetrating, which is fine. You can take some out of here, maybe put it more into Elfborn. I'm not running Inner Light currently in the way I've been running the build, but if you're running Inner Light, definitely take some out of here and put it into here. You're gonna hit like a truck. You might be over penetrating, like I said, but I'm still playing around with this. CP, do what you're comfortable with your CP. Elemental Expert, I definitely wouldn't go more than 43 into here. It gives you the 10%. This only scales up to 15% with 100 points. So at 43, thirds of the max damage you can out of here. And there's a lot of other places we need to put points. So I would not go higher than 43 on Elemental Expert. I'm not putting anything into Blessed because, like I said, our main heal is Healing Ward. We get some off of Degeneration, which is nice, but you know, it can be better served elsewhere. I have 37 in the Staff Expert just because this scales so well. You're weaving, as a Magblade, you're weaving all your attacks. You're weaving between shields if you're a good player. This is just going to help keep pressure on, keep that, you're trying to keep that siphoning debuff on them for the purge like I was talking about that they're going to be doing. It's really strong. I would recommend 37 into here, 56 into Master at Arms for that 20% direct damage. Almost all of our skills are direct damage skills. 9 into Shattering Blows. It scales pretty well. I didn't have another place to put these points really that I felt was nice. You could put them into Thaumateurs, I guess, but yeah, it's gonna help with those annoying shield stacking characters such as myself playing Magblade sword. I've even seen a lot of light armor mag DKs running around that are hitting extremely hard. They hit extremely hard, so this is gonna help with that. Your dots are going to be taken away on their shields. Right here I have 37 into Thaumateurs, and like I said, I'll elaborate. Your dots are going to be taken away on their shields. It's going to keep the pressure up. You want to keep any shield stack character dotted up, and then that's gonna keep them either shield stacking, or whenever they see that you're on the defensive, your dots are still taking away at them while you're on the defensive, and that's gonna open you up for a merciless as soon as those shields get low, and you'll flame reach into a merciless or flame reach into an ulti with a shooting star with a merciless. Sorry guys, I did DC right there. Gotta love Zoss. Gotta love Zoss. I would remake the video, but I've already tried 3 times DCing, and we'll just go right back into it. I was on the CP, I believe. Yeah, so the 37 in Thaumateurs right there is really gonna help you out with those shield stackers and the heavy armor characters, anyone tanky. It's just gonna give you a lot more damage. And there's not really anywhere else to put this to pump up more damage. Like I said, the 43 in here is pretty much your ideal, and the 56 right here is standard. You could, so into the red tree, play around with this. I do have 56 into Ironclad for that 20%. Like I said, it's the same as I put into Master at Arms. So you're gonna completely negate that standard right there. That standard 56 into Master of Arms, that 20% damage, that's really nice. I have 43 into Resistance. Play around with this. If you feel like you need more, or you're doing fine with your shields, you can take some out of here and maybe put it into your Hardy and Elemental Defender. I have these at 37 for the 9% each. You could go up 1% more on each. Play around with it, but this is enough for me, I feel. Definitely enough for me. I have 31 into Thick Skin because we are a shield stacker, as I explained with the dots on the blue tree. Dots are going to be taken away at your shields. It's going to make it hard to stay offensive. So you're going to want to pump this up. You might actually even put more into here instead of Resistance if you feel you have enough impen. And then I have, to finish it off, 56 into Bastion. I don't have anything to quick recovery because, like I explained with Blessed, it's just not worth it with this build. Your main heal is Healing Ward. You're trying to juke it out, let that Healing Ward heal you up. Degeneration is going to heal you up. Your Resto ulti is going to heal you up. So that's my CP. Like I said, play around with it. This may not be ideal for you, but this is what I find works best for me. And again, I do PvP on an Argonian, so I just wanted to show you the stats with Max Undaunted and Max Mages Guild. They are incredible, I said. But there you have it, guys. That's my Magic and Nightblade build for the Wolf Hunter patch, Destro Restro. I will be releasing a bomb build, but I have some more items to get. So this probably isn't anything new. Someone probably already has this up. I'm not going to claim it. This is just what I've been running, and I hope you have fun with it, guys. Thank you.